Vidya Sampradaya Patibhyo Mahadyo Namo Gurubhya
Namo Gurubhya
Sarvaparahitaha Pratyagartho Brahmaivasmi Brahmaivasmi Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadina Devya Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhavatada Vidha Vignate Tasmai Bhashakute Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane. Hopefully the sound is okay, and in case if do you hear the humming of the fan, or is the sound of the fan causing a disturbance in the audio? Can somebody please report?
No, Swamiji, it is okay, Swamiji.
All right. We are on verse number 11. Kindly chant it, recite it. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Ashocyanan Vashochastvam, Ashocyanan Vashochastvam, Prashyavadamshcha Bhashase, Prashyavadamshcha Bhashase, Gatasuna Gatasunshcha, Gatasuna Gatasunshcha, Nanushocanti Panditaha, Nanushocanti Panditaha. The Pandita, the wise men in the sense women also included, okay? Otherwise, those who are wise, that is what is the meaning. Whether they are men or women is not a question. Those who are wise. And who is a wise person? He who has wisdom. As simple. He who knows. So the wise do not grieve. Okay? And for us to grieve, for us to have any form of sorrow, misery, people who are responsible, either one grieves for people who are dead, or is miserable because of people who are alive. But a wise person is he who does not grieve on account of any of these two reasons. Gatasuna, agatasunshcha. Nanushocanti panditaha. For them there is no grief. But what is your case, Arjuna? That you seem to be grieving, you seem to be struck by the grief, you seem to have been overcome by misery, overpowered by misery, and that also you're miserable, sad for those reasons for which one need not be sad at all. Ashocyan Anvashochastvam. And then on top of it, to cover up that folly, you are coating it with some intellectualism. Generally, people do that. This, in order to cover up a mistake, then use a very bombastic language or suddenly become very philosophical. The person becomes very global and everything. He says, Arjuna, this is your problem. Ashochan anvashochahatvam. And who are ashochaha? Whether the ashocha means shoka, karne yogya, those who are that worthy of grief, of feeling sorry, feeling misery for them. But they are not at all worthy. Who is not worthy of that sorrow? Whether the people who are alive or people who are dead. And for any situation which means should not be able to make you miserable. And this is what happens with the wise people. They do not grieve at all for any reason. There is no grief, there is no sorrow for them. And therefore, Arjuna, Prajnavadashta bhashase, you seem to be talking, parroting like a wise man with all these things, but that is not wisdom. Because the sign of wisdom is absence of grief, absence of sorrow. So now, analyzing another Arjuna's situation, we should be able to see our reflection over there. And what is that reflection? That there is the moha, the delusion is twofold. And twofold delusion is, one is which is common to all, sarva prani sadharana. And one which is very specific, and that specific is that Arjuna is confused with what is to be done. Because that what is to be done is swadharma, is dharma, is righteousness. But in that what needs to be done and what should be done, what ought to be done, Arjuna now sees that as something to be avoided. And therefore he starts seeing in swadharma, he sees adharma. Okay? And that which is adharma, turning away from the battle, which means avoiding one's duties and resorting to something which one should not be doing, is what Arjuna is ready to do, thinking that this is the right course of action. So that what is right he sees as wrong, and that what is wrong he sees as right. This is also what happens to us. Okay, so this is the twofold delusion. Okay. शोकस्य तु कारणनिवृत्त्या एव निवृत्तेः न पृथक् साधनान्तर अपेक्षा इति अभिप्रेत्य क्रमेण भ्रमद्वयम् अनुवदन् श्री भगवान् उवाच. Now, what Shri Krishna wants to is addressing the problem is the problem of delusion. But Arjuna's problem, Arjuna and we all have seen, is the problem of sorrow, of misery. And Shri Krishna is addressing what? Delusion. When the problem is sorrow, you should do something to remove the sorrow, but you are removing the delusion, fixing the understanding. So are you sending your darts in the wrong direction? So over here he said, this shoka means you understand now. Shoka is sorrow, misery, all these are, now we are going to make them sit in synonymous, synonyms. Then Shokasya tu karana nivrittya eva nivrittehe. Because the sorrow automatically gets removed, annihilated by removing its cause. So when a person is unhappy, what do we try to do? Try to entertain him, correct? What do? We try to entertain him. So by entertaining, we are not removing the cause of the sorrow. We are just providing a situation for diverting the attention. Diverting the attention is like pushing the issue under the carpet. It remains, but it is under the carpet. Shri Krishna is not doing anything like this. Bhagavan Krishna sees that delusion is the cause from where even the sorrow is arising. The misery which makes you feel and find yourself as what? I am a small, little, limited, little entity, insignificant, searching for fulfillment in this world, running from pillar to post, from birth to death. That is what I am constantly looking for. I'm looking for fulfillment. And so the person goes about asking for it in every direction. This is there because one does not know that this I, the self, is Purnavastu Brahman. As a result, one considers oneself to be a limited entity. And now, in this world, this limited entity is naturally related to this world. As related to this world, there are various roles. So then you are a father, mother, brother, sister, wife, daughter, something of the other. Friend, neighbor, employer, employee, subordinate, superordinate, something of the other. That means there is a course of an action, an appropriate action for every role. Okay? If the child, if it is you are a father, and if your child has, done good in the school, now comes the father's role is to appreciate and encourage the child. Correct? If the child has done something that is very wrong, then the father's role is not over there to appreciate and encourage. Very good, very good. Go and kill some people next time, okay? Just don't fight in the street. Next time come home, murdering only. No, not to encourage. Over there, the father has to reprimand the child to mend his ways. Correct? So there are what is appropriate, then that becomes dharma. What is right? What will be right? So now what happens over here is that what is to be done by this person who now is in the world, then there are duties for him to be executed. And then not understanding what exactly the person should be doing in that situation, and considering that what is right as wrong is another complication. So the first complication is of not knowing Atma is Brahman. The second complication is of not seeing Dharma as Dharma. Okay, what is right as right. Okay, now, so when this delusion is removed, when both these delusions are removed, naturally, the shoka, the misery which was caused because of it, because of both these, then gets removed. And therefore, Sri Krishna does not do anything to entertain, but to remove the shoka. To remove the moha. So, shokasya tu karana nivritya eva nivrittihi. So, because of removing the very cause of the moha, cause of shoka, which is moha, the effect also gets removed over here. Okay. Pruthak sadhanantara apeksha, na pruthak sadhanantara apeksha. Therefore, there is, oh, now he has removed the delusion and he is going to require something else to be done in order to remove the misery. Sadhanantara. So what will be required? What will be required? Required some other thing, something else, some other means to deal with shoka. He has dealt with moha. Now, will he require anything else to deal with shoka? No, nothing else is required. All that was required was only to deal with moha. So, na prathak sadhanantara apeksha. There is no need for anything else to be done thereafter. Nothing more. Ityabhipretya kramena samattvayam anuvadan Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now, these are the two delusions. They are dealt. They have been brought over here to our notice, and therefore Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Up to this point, this is what was the situation, and therefore Shri Bhagavan, thus Bhagavan Shri Krishna, the Blessed Lord, spoke. Ashochan and Ashochan means what? Shochitam ayogyan. Those Ashochan means Ashochan. So therefore, you have to be very clear with your pronunciations. Shocha, not Socha. Okay? Shocha. Ashocha. Ashocha means those who are not worthy of grief. That what cannot become the very cause for sorrow. Okay? Ashochan. Shochitum ayogyan. That one should not grieve for those. Who are those now? Bhishma Dronadi. Atma Sahitam. Tvam Panditopi San Anushochaha Anushojitavanasi. Now Bhagavan says, Bhishma, Drona, etc., the people whom you love and revere and worship. For Arjuna, his teacher, his grandfather, etc., were people whom he loves very much. And for those people, Arjuna says, I am becoming miserable over here. Shri Krishna says, no, they are not the people, or they cannot become the cause of your sorrow, whether they are alive or whether they are dead. They cannot be the cause of sorrow. Bhishma Dronadin, and including yourself. Well, I am not feeling grief for those people, but I am grieving for myself. Why? Because I am going to miss them if they die. And that's why I am already becoming miserable. Or maybe if they live but I die. In that situation, that would be, in another combination would be, they still are alive and I am dead. And therefore, I am going to miss them any which ways. They are going to miss me in any which ways. So therefore, if they die, I'm going to miss them. And if I die, I still will be missing them. So there is something that you are saying is because they are the reasons for your grief. So whether you are grieving for them or because of yourself, not worthy of it. Atma Sahitan, Bhishma Dronadin, Atma Sahitan, Svam Panditaha Asi. You are a Pandita, you are a person who is educated. Because Arjuna is educated even in the Vedic systems. Not that he has never heard Upanishad. He has. But now, even though people may hear and know it, yet that knowledge does not become available when it is required. It remains as if it is pushed under some, hidden, becomes hidden. That's why there is that prayer, Tejasvinavati Tamastu. Now, whatever we may learn, let that learning, let that knowledge make us brilliant, which means let that knowledge become available to us in all situations, not that we forget and then it goes away. Not like that. Atma, you are a Pandita, son, Anushu, though you are a Pandita, though you know everything you have heard. Okay. So what Anushvochitavanasi, you have heard it from people like Vyasa and all these great people, sages. Why? And then how are you displaying your sorrow? Temriyante mannimittam aham taihi vina tair vina bhutaha kim karishyami rajya sukhadina iti evam arthakena drishvevam swajanam ityadina. So Arjuna already has expressed whatever he has to. And now Madhusudan Saraswati shows you, reminds us again over here. He says, Temriyante mannimittam. They are going to die because of me. I am going to be the cause for their death. And so, mannimittam tehi mriyante. And then, tair vina bhutaha kim karishyami. And what will I do without the people whom I love? I may get all this wealth and kingdom and everything and power, but how will I be able to enjoy or, rejoice without the people whom I love? Kim karishyamaha, kim karishyami rajya sukhadina, and all this rajya, sukha, etc., comforts and power and, wealth, everything is not going to fill the vacuum for me, was what was Arjuna's hue and cry. So over there, Rajya Sukhadina iti evam. And how did Arjuna express that? Drishtvevam swajanam Krishna. Over there, Arjuna has said this. Tathacha ashochye shocha brahmaha pashvadi sadharanaha tavati atyanta panditasya anuchitaha ityarthaha. Tatha. Now, so also we have to know ashochye shocha brahmaha. The world in any form is not something that is to be grieved for, because one has not known. The only reason for the grief is ignorance, delusion. And how is it? That there is nothing else. All these names and forms are nothing but Brahman, that is this Atma. Not knowing there is this grief. So this is Ashocha. So therefore this is all Ashocha. In that there is Shocha Brahma. Okay. Pashvadi Sadharanaha. And this is common not only to the human beings, even for animals and birds. For all. Okay. Tavati Panditasya Anuchitaha. And though this is common, but it is not there for the one who is enlightened. And therefore, if you are wise, you would not be Panditasya. And I consider that you have heard, you have known Upanishad, then why should this happen to you? Okay? Tatha kutastva kashmanamidam ityadina madvachanena anuchitam idam आचरितं मया इति विमर्शे प्राप्तेपि त्वं स्वयं प्रश्नहापि सन् प्रश्नानाम् अवादान् प्रश्नैः वक्तुम् अनुचितान् शब्दान् कथं भीष्ममहं संख्ये इत्यादि भाषसे वदसि. Now, and I have already said, kutastva kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Arjuna, from where has this Kashmala come into you? Where has this impurity come into you from? In a wrong place. Now, having heard that, you should have had reflected on what I have already meant and hinted and indicated. But instead of that, you have gone on and on and on and on, justifying how correct it is for you to grieve and justifying how right it is for you to do what is not right. By my words, you should have had reflected upon it and kept quiet. Instead of that, you kept on going on and on. Natu lajjaya tushtim bhavasi. It should have made you feel, made you become a little introverted, reflected on it. What am I doing? Instead of that, what have you done? You did not keep quiet, reflect on it. Instead, you wanted to convince all these things to me. Tushnim na tushnim bhavasi ataha param kim anuchitam asti iti suchayitum chakaraha. And therefore, when Shri Krishna is using the word in that shloka cha, which means so also, that cha means so also, and conjugation cha is in Sanskrit will mean over here so also. That so also is meaning what? Something more is to be added over there. Meant what is to be added? Ataf param kim anuchitam asti ti suchaitum. Now, what else is there which is not right? Anuchitam, not in place. This is what is indicated by that chakara. Tathacha adharme dharmatva bhanti dharme cha adharma bhanti asadharanye tava atipanditasya nochita iti bhavaha. Now, some people may not know what is the true nature of the self. Yet, they will have a very acute sense of what is right and what is not right. They will follow it also. So at least at an empirical level, in this empirical level of life, they are in tandem, in harmony over here. There is that other delusion is there. Sadharana delusion is there. But that which is asadharana delusion about how to function in this world is not there for them. What is right, then they live by principles. And remember, if a person does not have any principle to live by, if one does not stand for any principle, if there is nothing to stand for, one will fall for everything. One will fall for everything. And so some which those who and those principles means living by dharma. What is right? Okay. But so we do not know what is right. And then what if we find what is right was what I consider right at that time. Later on I find it was wrong then. Amend it, change. Now what? Evolve. But to stand with what is right is important. Okay. At an empirical level, the person is okay. He knows what is right. Therefore, Arjuna's problem is that he knows that this is what is right, but now he is also seeing that what is right also is actually wrong only. And therefore, he has a tremendous confusion and considering what is right as wrong. And that what is to be avoided, that what is nishiddha, is what he thinks is he should do. Because for a kshatriya, for the people who are born to look after the welfare of the people, provide the population with right principles, right examples, protection, provide them with protection, etc., security, all these things, the person now wants to go and beg and subsist on it, live on it, become dependent. No, sir. For a Kshatriya, Bhiksha, etc., is not what he should be about. He should become a support, not seek support. Okay? And therefore, Arjuna is doing what is wrong. And he says, because what I'm supposed to do is filled with violence at this moment, it is adharma. That is not the thing. So Swadharma is Arjuna is going to miss. Arjuna is confusing it with adharma. So this is asadharana delusion. Okay. Now, no person is a pandita. He will know what is dharma shastra. He will know what is dharma shastra. And Arjuna, you know all these things. That this is how a Kshatriya should live. This is how we have to live. Even if you did not have the knowledge of Atma is Brahman, at least you know what is the right way to function in this world. And that you are getting confused with. That is what you are ignoring. This is what happens when a person starts ignoring the sense of right and wrong. Okay? Okay. And tathacha adharme dharmatva bhranti dharme cha adharma bhranti asadharani tava atipanditasya. Arjuna had lived a life of principles and morality and ethics. Always. Always. You have heard that story of Arjuna getting cursed of becoming a eunuch, right? That incident you know. That shows that what a man of principle was Arjuna. A golden character. Blemishless. So, Arjuna, tava atipanditasya. So you know you are an atipandita, you are extremely wise with these matters. And then, though you are wise, this is not uchita, this is not becoming of you. This is the reason why. Okay. Prashnavatam panditanam vadam bhashase parantu na buddhyase itiva. Though you may now speak the language, you may intellectual language, but this is not uchita. It is not yoga. You do not know. That is it. Iti ye panditaha vichara-janyatma tattva-jnanavantaha te gata-pranan agata-prananscha bandhutvena kalpitan dehan na anushuchanti. Now, those who are panditas, those who are wise, what happens to them? Whom are we calling now presently as wise people? Vichara-janyatma tattva-jnanavantaha. Those who know the self. Those who know the self. Hey, everybody over here knows the self. I am is a common knowledge. Who does not have this knowledge? Even a mosquito also knows I am. Everybody claims I am. You seem to be knowing you are. So who lacks self-knowledge? Hey, I am. But in everybody's, the meaning of I is this small, little, limited entity. Aham karta, aham bhokta iti. That I am the experiencer. I am the doer. This is what happens. But ye pandita, those who are wise, they also know Atma. But how? For them, what is the meaning of word I? The meaning of word I for them is not this little ego. Then what is it? It is Brahman. Okay. But how have they come? Is it their belief? Is it their belief? Like you have a belief. I am a husband, I am a wife. What is that? What is this? Is not that a belief? One day then you start calling children, you knew each other, but you were not calling yourself a husband and wife. Then after that particular date, when the rest of the people stood over there singing songs and then throwing some, Shubhamangala Savadan, they have thrown the rice grains on your head. Now the Pandita says that Purohit, that priest tells you, put your garland in the neck of this boy, tell that boy, you put the garland in this girl's neck. And now because you have exchanged the garlands, what are you? Husband and wife. So now a belief is there that she is my wife, he is my husband. It is a belief. And beliefs are required. I am not saying beliefs are not required. Beliefs are required. Otherwise, how are you going to run the family? Somebody else's wife. She is also wife. Okay, then wife. You cannot take it that way. Hey, wife means your wife. You require a wife. Bring anybody's wife for the yajna. No, she's a wife. No, your wife only is required. Okay. Then in our rituals, that priest will tell you, call your wife. You require wife only. Na? Anyone, come, sit. Let us do sankalpa. And no, your wife. Oh, she is my wife, he is my husband, etc. He is my friend, he is my enemy. These are all beliefs. Okay? They are all your beliefs. Yet, is I am Brahman. Is that also another belief? I am a husband, I am a wife. This is a belief. So is I am Brahman also another belief that you are saying? So we are saying no. It is not another superimposition. It is not another superimposition, but this is knowledge. And therefore, what does Madhusudana Saraswati say over here is Vichara Janya, that which is born from Viveka, Vichara Janya, Atma Tattva Jnanavantaha. Those who know the self, and it is knowledge. Okay. How is that knowledge? It is through a process, through how the knowledge comes. Okay. Not through the process of creating a belief. Okay. Not through the process of creating a belief. Vichara Janyatma Tattva Jnanavantaha. Now, what happens with those who know the nature of the self as Brahman? Gatasuna Gata Pranan or Gata Pranan. Now, people who are alive or people who are dead are imagined, are seen what to be Bandhutvena are mine. Bandhutvena, my relatives, I am dependent on them, they are dependent on me, so on and so forth. Bandhutvena kalpitan dehan anushojanti. And not only that these people that they grieve for, but actually they are grieving for that body. In that body there is this kalpana. He is my father, this dead fellow is my father, my mother, so on and so forth. Anushojanti. But Panditas do not have that. And therefore they do not grieve. Ete mritaha sarvopakarana parityagena kataha kim kurvanti kva tishtanti Now, and how do people even have their, what do they call, what do they express their, huh? No, give me another word. You know, no. Chalo. Anyway, whatever it is. Ete mritaha sarvopakarana parityagena gataha. So now those who are dead, they have left all of us. He used to like, he had a particular liking only for this shaving foam. Now wherever he has gone without this shaving foam, what will he do? And that's why, people even in the Egyptian graves, in those tombs, in their pyramids, they used to stock up everything over there. Why? Because this fellow may need it later on. If they had used it, it would be empty by now. Now, after so many thousands of years later, also when they are opening up those pyramids and their graves, everything is still there, nicely kept. So archaeologists are bringing it out. If they were to sarvopakarana parityagena, having given up everything over here on which they were dependent for their comforts, they have left, they have gone. And therefore now this fellow who loved that person has a problem. What will he do without all these things? All the bank account, all that money he has left behind, and he used to love his money so much every day. He will just open up his bank account and watch that figure on the computer without any reason. He's simply opening up only to do. And then now he cannot even do that. What will he do? Parityagena gataha kim kurvanti kvatishtanti, and where will they go? How will he be living? And so people generally, who have this problem, they come and ask, Swamiji, where have they gone? Where have they gone? Kvatishtanti kvagataha kim kurvanti. What will he be doing now? एते च जीवन्तो बन्धु विच्छेदेन कथं जीविष्यन्ति इति न व्यामुह्यन्ति. But in case of the Panditas, this does not happen. This does not happen. Why this does not happen? Because if this Pandita, if this Jivan Mukta Brahmajnani, he is Samadhi Samaye Tat Pratibhasa Bhavat, if he is absorbed in Samadhi, he naturally does not see the world at all. So the world is absent. And what were you grieving for? For some people in this world. For some people in this world. But in the Samadhi, the whole world is absent. Not only just these 2-3 people that you were crying for, the whole world gone. Okay? Samadhi samaye tat pratibhasa bhava. Well, but if he is not in Samadhi, this Brahmajnani is not in Samadhi, but he is very much interacting with the world. At that time, at least he will know, my wife has died, somebody has died, my father, mother, somebody. Will he not grieve over here now? So now it says, vyuthana samaye tat pratibhasepi. Though at the time of vyuthana, in a state of where there is transaction, worldly transaction is still going on over there, what happens? Tat pratibhasepi mrishatvena nishchayat. Now for him, there is one definite knowledge, and that is that all the names and forms, including this name and form, is an appearance in the self. Just as a person who knows what is gold, So you may have various ornaments, necklace, bracelets, crown, earrings. Huh? There are various ornaments, armlet, whatever. Various ornaments are there. Now, those ornaments, those names and forms are subject to creation and birth and death. Correct? If you're going to wear that necklace several times, gold is a material which is very soft metal. It is going to break. That, what do they call it? The golden bangle bracelet is also bound to break. But say, suppose even if all the ornaments are broken and you have just the gold, nothing is lost. Gold is there as much as it was. So he who knows, and why? Because all the names and forms are an appearance in the gold. Without the gold, no names and forms can ever be there. Correct? No ornament is going to be possible. It's not going to be possible. But those who have known what is real and what is an appearance, what is the nature of the appearance? That someday, sometime, it is bound to go. Correct? It is bound to go because it has come. So also these names and forms which have appeared on the gold are bound to go to. And if it goes, yet nothing is lost because gold is there. Again, the ornaments can be created. It can be created again. And therefore, he does not leave because he understands that all these names and forms are an appearance. The gold is real thing. The gold is not lost. As long as the gold is not lost, nothing is lost. The ornament can be created again. A new design can be molded. True? Therefore, he does not grieve. Like that, the whole world of all the names and forms is bound to disappear someday, sometime. Because it is born, it will go, it will come, it will go. But that because of which this appearance becomes possible is never lost. That is the reality, that is the truth. So those who know this, even when they are interacting with the world, they are never ever affected by dukkham. They are free from it. And if they are in samadhi, then there is no question of it. No. So mrishatvena nishchayat. There is mrishatva nishchayat. Nahi rajju tattva sakshatkarena sarpa brahme apanite tan nimitta bhayakampadi sambhavati. He gives you an example. Another example which is rajju sarpa. Once when you have known what is the true principle, what is that object, and that is rope. Okay. What is that object and what it is? Rope. Now, the bhaya and kampa, the panic and the trembling, etc., which was caused due to seeing the snake, will all go. The snake is a delusion. And that delusion has caused the show, correct? Misery goes away. So when the delusion goes away, shoka also goes away. And those who are panditas, therefore, do not have any shoka because delusion is not there. Because the delusion is not there. Okay. एवं आत्मस्वरूप ज्ञान निबंधना भावात् शोच्च भ्रमस्य तत्स्वरूप ज्ञानेन तदज्ञाने अपनीते तत्कार्यभूत शोच्च भ्रमः कथम अवतिष्ठते इति भावः. Thus now we know the misery which is because of the delusion, and when that delusion goes away with knowledge, now obviously there is no place even for that misery. It has gone away. Iti bhavaha shocha brahmaha nasti. Okay. Yasmad evam tasmat tvamupi pandito bhutva shokam makarshi iti abhipraya. Therefore, now what exactly is meant by Shri Krishna over here? What is the final message to take home? That Arjuna, if you are a Pandita, if you are a wise person, there will not be any show. If you are not a wise person, because you naturally find that there is misery for me, I am miserable. If I am miserable is what is your experience, then become a Pandita. Gain the knowledge. Don't sit over there justifying how correct it is to have misery. Is it not natural that I am having this misery? If misery is there, one should work on what? On removing the misery, not justifying how natural and how correct it is for me to become miserable. And how is the misery removed? By removing the delusion. How is the delusion removed? Through knowledge. And the one who has knowledge is a Pandita. Therefore, become Pandita if you are not. Don't intellectualize. Work on that. Try to know. Go and find the means to knowledge. Okay, this is what is to be understood. What comes next? Let us see when we meet tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Whenever is the next class now. All right. Om. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sudrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Om. Thank you.